Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News, and we've got some catching up to do. I've been out of town, but I'm back in the Power Recapping studio. We had Recchia for her first solo episode on Off the Vine, Caitlin Bristow's podcast, and now tomorrow, Thursday, Tino finally appears on Nick's podcast. Nick says, hopefully after tomorrow, everyone can heal. My guesses are after tomorrow, there'll be more questions than answers. We'll have to hear what Tino has to say regarding his story. Rachel says he was playing chicken with me. What I'm going to do is play for you several clips from the Off the Vine podcast that Rachel did, mentioning the big thing that they are refusing to talk about, that, the secret that they hold together. And we'll get into all this. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals, patreon.com/Dave Neal. Tonight, I'll be uploading the full 33-minute video of my wedding for the Patreon. I know the Patreon members have been asking for this. I've got this. So this video right here is my camera. That's how nice this quality is. Beautiful shot. Then you can see the professional guys in the background. I'll play you like 5 seconds right here.
Please repeat after me.
Hi, Dave.
I, Dave, Power Recapper, take the Power Recap. Anyway, so you'll get the chance to watch the whole thing, but it was emotional. There were some tears, and of course it's. Anyway, for those that speaking about tears for a different reason, we're going to get into this. But as we catch up on what Rachel Recchia said on the Off the Vine podcast, which, by the way, stick around for the clip I'm about to play for you guys. She kind of responds to the haters, talks about why she was deleting comments and when she stopped, and more on that. Here's the teaser that Caitlin Bristow put together for her podcast with Rachel Recchia.
I think this is the first podcast I've done alone.
Rachel Recchia.
What's happening? Is there Raven?
Rachel.
Would you want to see two bachelors? Have you talked to any of the other guys from your season?
What? The world's never going to know the exact truth with everything. And
all right, and I can agree with that. So anyway, this is the highly dramatized video version. And again, she doesn't post these on her YouTube channel. So it's just audio. It's such, like I said, it's such a waste. There's a huge, gigantic market that want to watch what people say. But hey, I guess she's busy and doesn't need to. Here's Nick's 2 reels that he posted, or 3, I should say. He posted 3 reels teasing his conversation that's happening with Tino. It's finally happening on Thursday. Tino delivers. And then Marilyn Movie said this comment section is a terrifying view into misogyny in America. How interesting. We didn't even read the comments yet. People say they can't wait to hear his side of the story. I have to say, while there is no apologizing or there's no sort of excuse for cheating, if he wants to share what actually went down, I'm all on board. I don't think that should mean we should hate Rachel for how she reacted. So here they are.
What is your thought, I guess, on once a cheater, always a cheater? What is your thought, I guess?
All right. And then Jessica said, didn't he just kiss another girl and realize he shouldn't be doing it and stop? She kissed other men the entire season while dating him. Yeah, but she kissed other men with the knowledge being that that's what she was going to do. It's not about a kiss. It's not about 2 pieces of skin touching each other. It's about breaking trust. And here's the other clip here. Tomorrow on Viall Files, we dig deep with Tino.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah, ask me something funnier. Let's get off this topic.
All right, let's just talk about fun things. Okay. Anyway, so very highly dramatized. We have some wars brewing on here between Nick and Caitlin. Of course, we know Nick's been talking about his relationship with Caitlin as part of his book tour, talking about their past and this and that. And Caitlin and Nick hold the biggest Bachelor podcast that are out there. So there's a battle for who will get the guest. Nick had commented about the fact that Caitlin Bristow got Clayton and Susie to talk post breakup, and then Caitlin gets Rachel Recchia, Nick gets Tino. These are big gets within the Bachelor world. All right, so let's listen. So that'll air tomorrow. Of course, we'll be here to dive right into it. I'm going to play 3 or 4 clips from this episode that Rachel Recchia did with Caitlin Bristow.
Yeah.
Like went through it and it was just not great for them. So
That's nice.
I do feel lucky.
Yeah, because especially this soon after been through what you've been through to feel lucky is a really good perspective because,
Just trying.
you know, you had to deal with, I'll say it again, baby back bitch Tino. And then you.
All right, so Caitlin Bristow says baby back bitch Tina, which of course wasn't a term she coined, but I don't know. I really like what Caitlin does, but I think she leans hard into one side of this situation. I really do. Not to say that Rachel, anything that Rachel could have done should be used as an excuse for what Tino did. Tino was in the wrong, but baby back bitch Tina. I don't know. Okay, let's just listen. Because what it really comes down to is it's almost like, will Nick have more empathy for what Tino went through? Will Caitlin have more empathy for what Rachel Recchia went through? Chances are yes. And that's usually because you empathize with people that are closer to you, which is age, sex, gender, because it's easier to put yourself in those shoes.
Deal with a lot of backlash. Like people are just
sex, gender.
Nasty, and I'm like blown away by it.
Yeah,
I shouldn't be. I should be like, of course, people are like dicks like this, but it's just wild.
It was insane. I was not expecting that. That definitely was tough. And it was just like, you really couldn't do anything. Like they would find a way to blame me for everything. And it wasn't like like minority whatsoever. Like it was like the majority of people would blame me for things that were so out of my control. And I was just like, what do you want me to do? Like what?
And I think for the most, and again, of the internet, there'll always be people blaming you. There'll always be horrible people, right? But I think the majority of people just wanted to like hear what Tino had to say. And it seems like every time Tino began to describe why he did what he did, he would be interrupted. So I think we're finally going to get that tomorrow.
Entire Instagram, I would just be scared to like make a post because I'm like, as soon as I post this, like it's going to be bad.
You
and on
open
The
yourself
Bachelor,
up.
I was just like, I would go there and like delete comments. And this time I was just like, I'm just leaving them. Like I can't get to it fast enough. So that's tough when you're afraid to be on your own platform. And I don't really read the messages as much. I try not to, but it's so hard. People don't understand like, when you have everything everyone thinks about you right in front of you, how do you not look?
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's so hard not to read the messages. So hard. So she says she tries not to, and she can't. Now that she's kind of like a star, she has to sort of like just avoid it all. Like it's almost like once you get to a certain level, you can no longer curate it all. And that's kind of where I've been to an extent with my channel, where I can't change everybody's opinions. I can't do any of that. So here's what I posted actually on my Facebook community. For my mental health, I refuse to look at Reddit posts where I'm featured. But could anyone who peruses Reddit share some of the good comments with me there? There's a thread about Katie Thurston attending the wedding. Yeah, so there was a thread on Reddit about Katie Thurston attending my wedding. And I was like, look, you're so curious to know, you're curious to see what people are saying, but you don't want the negativity. So I think it's a good way to ask your friends or family to like sift through them. And a lot of people had nice things to say about my wife, but of course, it's like you can't not look. You can't not look. So how do you figure that out? So some of the comments were shared on my Facebook page. People that were saying, "Hey, not surprised they're friends. Good for them." But again, you need to take care of your mental health, and it's an ongoing struggle. One of which I don't have all the answers to. But I totally can empathize with her there. Most people can't. Most people have never been in that situation in life where the internet's judging you for everything you do. And you might not think it's a big deal, but every time you open your DMs, there's another person who says you should have a mask on, and then you put a mask on, and then people say you're being tricked by some weird cabal. It's like there's always somebody, and it wears over time.
15 Shades of Tino that we saw in that breakup, and then dealing with him on stage. And I, again, felt like people were blaming you, even though he was the one that went ahead and cheated in this engagement. So
I don't think people were really blaming Rachel. I think people just didn't know what actually went down that led up to it. And that's the conversation we never got. So when, and again, I'm not taking Tino's defense here, but when people say 50 Shades of Tino, when it takes two to tango, right? So if you're having a conversation where you're driven crazy, it can happen in any heterosexual relationship or any other type of relationship. One party might be acting just befuddled, and it's because of all the mixed signals they're getting from the other. And I'm not saying Rachel did that to Tino. I'm just saying 50 Shades of Tino means you're getting all these different sides to him, the side that's trying to negotiate with her, the side that's defensive, the side that feels attacked, the side that feels guilt. These all exist. So I get that it's easy to say, oh, he's 50 Shades. Oh, he's got all these personality types or whatever. But what we're having a hard time doing is taking a very complicated scenario that happened, that played out probably over days, weeks, and months. And I'm talking about leading up to the cheating and all that. And we're trying to watch it play out on a highly edited way. It's nearly impossible.
So not to bring him up again, but this is a podcast about your season. So I was there obviously at the finale. My favorite part was when we all took a shot of tequila when it was a commercial break.
I know. I wish they would have aired that.
I know. It was so good. But I was just shocked to see how many people were kind of in like supporting Tino. Were you as surprised as I was?
It's difficult because I think, not that I want people to pick sides or be like, you need to all hate on him and not on me. Like, there's always going to be sides.
Yeah.
But the fact that he did have to sit up there when Avon came out, which, I mean, I've said this multiple times, Avon was upset about that. Like,
okay, so they get into the whole part where Avon was upset that Tino was left out there for that Avon bit. And I think, of course, Rachel was as well. And what they realized was that I don't think that was supposed to happen that way. And it certainly wasn't their doing. If we want to make fun of or get angry at the producers for doing that, that's perfectly fine. But, Avon, so the fact that Tino had to see Avon to kind of take his fiance or his ex-fiance away, people were getting mad at Rachel. But of course, that is a producer's fault. That's not Rachel's fault. But what it did do is it sort of made a martyr for Tino. Whereas, let me explain this. Tino was in the wrong. He cheated. He is in the wrong. But all the extra thing, like, it's almost like Clayton made some mistakes on his show, but then when you start doing the Clayton sucks chant and all these other things, it's like, okay, now we feel bad for him, okay? So we can feel bad for Rachel that she was cheated on, and we can also feel bad that Tino's getting it pretty hard from a national audience for mistakes that he has made. And again, in the end, he's still human.
100%, 1,000%. And I think it's difficult because people watch the breakup, and then all of a sudden they watch Tino get basically put in a really tough situation. So I think in that, like, you really have to expect people to be mad at me. And that's hard. But I think the hardest comments are like people that would like consistently and to this day still like comment on my Instagram and say things. And they're like, well, you weren't listening to him. And you weren't, I'm like.
Which is valid criticism. He never got to share anything. It was almost like the fight that Shanae had with Genevieve after Clayton season. It was like there was so much arguing, we never actually got anything. So Tino got no explanation of what went down. Again, not saying cheating's right, but what led up to it, all that, none of that. And then the only time he was going to share something real, Rachel goes, "Do you really want to share that? Those are like secrets." And it's like, we get it, we understand.
I feel like I was so calm for a woman who just got cheated on. Like, I feel like it is so typical when women get cheated on. They freak out.
Not only were you calm, but you could tell you were protecting him in some way, even on the finale. Now, I know you're not going to air that stuff out on my podcast, but there is something that you're protecting.
Yeah.
And so not only were you calm after he had cheated on you and like trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and letting him speak, but he couldn't figure out his words, you were also in some way, and I can tell that you were protecting something.
What were you protecting?
Oh, you can't say it.
We have to say it. I'm dying to know now.
I know. And
what the hell?
And it's not like some big secret. I think a lot of people, they're like, well, what is she like off camera because of this and because of that? And it's like, there are some things I think in relationships that you just do not say.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You just don't say them out loud. And
okay, so there it is. It's like, if it's not a big deal, Rachel's saying there's some things in relationships you just don't say. Well, how's he going to share his story without saying these things? I don't know. I don't have answers other than, look, you guys, we're watching the show on a TV show, and now we're told there's things that they can't talk about. So it's going to be hard to hear what Tino has to say. So if Tino does say something tomorrow on Nick's podcast, will he be breaking whatever trust they had? Trust is broken. Just tell your truth, Tino.
I think when a show edits something out, especially a show where they display everything.
Yeah.
They display your worst moments. If they cut something out, there's a reason for it. Like,
jeez. All right. So we don't know what it is. I'm not prying. We just don't know. The show cut it out. They cut it out. We have no idea what it was. And I guess Rachel thinks she's protecting Tino by not sharing it. If Tino decides he wants to talk about it, that's on him to decide, right? They have the ability to say whatever they want, as long as it's not defamatory towards somebody else. If it's true, It's not defamation. You just say what you think. Okay, follow me on Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal. More content coming your way. It's going to be a busy end of the week. I'll tell you that much. We'll talk to you soon. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so we can stay up to date when Tino's story comes out tomorrow. We will be here to cover it. Bye, everybody.